The Tech Educator Podcast is a proud supporter and member of the Education Podcasting Network. Check out edupodcastnetwork.com today for your favorite educational podcasts. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tech Educator Podcast. Welcome to episode number 119. My name is Jeff Bradbury, and thank you so much for joining us today. We are here live on teachercast.tv. Today, we're talking all about Geo Tools. We're going to be talking about maps, mapping, and all the great things you can do with an atlas in your digital classroom. We have some great guests and co-hosts on today. I want to bring on Miss Jennifer Judkins. Jen, how are you today?
Great. Glad to be here with you.
How are things? I see you're in a new house. You're going to be doing some pretty awesome things up where you are. How are things today?
Great. It's been great settling in, and finally we have everything working on the network, so I feel like I'm settled.
Excellent, excellent. Tell everybody out there where we can find out more information about your site. I know your website is amazing and full of information on things. Jen, where do you blog these days?
So my blog is teachingforward.net.
Excellent. What can we find there?
I have lots of tutorial videos and cheat sheets for Google Tools and other things for your classroom.
Nice. Also want to bring on Mr. Josh. Josh, how are you doing today?
I am doing wonderful, Jeff. Great to be back on the show.
How did your team do this week at the NFL draft?
Well, the first day was kind of boring because they didn't have a pick because the NFL stole it from them. But it looks like on the second and third days of the draft, they did pretty well for themselves and expecting just another year of dominance from the Patriots, as always.
I know that we had a great weekend here. It was a busy weekend here. I actually was up in New England territory. It was kind of interesting walking into malls and convenience stores and not seeing Eagles green running around. But the Eagles certainly had a great week. One of our co-hosts did something amazing this weekend. She put on a TedX conference. I want to give a big shout out to our friend and co-host, Miss Jennifer Sheffer. She is recovering, but I want to just say thank you out there. She allowed me to come up and do a TedX speech and had an opportunity to talk a little bit more about what's been going on in my life with the babies and the teacher cast and the career and everything going on here. And it was really, really cool. Josh, you said that you caught the live stream. Is that true?
I did not catch the live stream. I have it up as a tab ready to watch. I was going to fast forward to your talk, but I figure I'm talking to you now. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your experience. You don't have to tell us about your talk because you're going to have a nice, polished, beautiful YouTube video on the TedX channel soon. But maybe tell us a little bit about maybe your experience or how you got involved with doing the talk and like the planning process. Because, I mean, it sounds pretty intense. You got to give an 18-minute talk in front of could be anybody in the world.
You know, it was pretty interesting. Jen and I actually kind of argued a little bit about this. She wanted to have all the slides done ahead of time, which makes sense. She wanted me to write out things on a script, which makes sense. And that was really, really tough. You know, we do these shows constantly. I podcast constantly. And it was really, really difficult for me to think ahead of time. In fact, you know, even Friday night sitting there in the hotel room, I came up with like 5 or 6 different openings that I could have come up with and tried out on stage. But because we had to turn in the slides ahead of time, I guess that's the hard part there is you're kind of stuck with what you turn in a week ahead of time. It was really, really an eye-opener and really, really an amazing learning experience. Waiting in the wings and listening to everybody. Carrie Gallagher started off the day with some fantastic what-if conversation. She asked the question, what if? What if you do this? What if you do that? And then after that, Patrick Larkin, the great Patrick Larkin was on. And then I went, and then Star Saxteen was there. And just so many amazing educators were at this event. So, you know, I had a great time, and I want to again just say thank you to Jen and to the whole entire team. I know Jen didn't work by herself. She had a huge, huge team of adults and students and coworkers. So it was an amazing time. And Josh, you're going to be working, or you are working on a TedX presentation. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we are organizing a TedX conference at my middle school, and that has been a crazy experience so far, and we have a month, 26 days left until ours. Ours is going to be on Friday the 27th. And it's been amazing just to see the collegiality of the teachers and other staff members I've asked to help out, and the student interest. We're actually going to have 20 middle school students giving a talk, and then 5 community members. And we're looking at about 6 to 8 minute talks. So not the full TED Talk, but definitely a cool chance for those kids to really share their voice and be heard and have their ideas heard in a middle school setting where I don't think we often give them that opportunity.
Jen, are you a TED? I believe they're called TED Stirs. Jen, do you follow TED Talks, Jen?
Yes, I do. It's one of my podcast channels that I listen to.
Who do you have any favorite talks or favorite speakers or any favorite topics to follow? Because there's so much good stuff out there.
Yeah, I feel like I couldn't name a specific one because every podcast I listen to is so varied, but I think that's what I like about it is that it's not just one specific topic or area. So, sometimes they're science oriented talks and other times they're talks about people's experiences that are, that I can relate to or things that are completely foreign to me. But all the time it's, I think I'm really excited to hear the talks that were given at the TedX conference because I think when they're focused on a student perspective, that's a really unique experience for kids and teachers to listen in to those types of talks. So.
And I think once you get a chance to listen to yesterday's performances from the students, your jaw is going to be on the floor. She had so many amazing students come up and give these breathtaking talks that really just left you sitting there just awe-inspired of all the great things that these kids are doing. So we are told that the videos have to get done up in post, and it's going to take a few weeks to have everything up, and then I guess Ted himself has to watch all the videos and improve them before they go on to the official YouTube channel. So, we will definitely have it covered on TeacherCast. I'm going to be putting up posts with all the presentations, and we'll be doing some pretty neat things. And I think sometime in the next few weeks, we're going to get the whole bunch on here, and we'll do a TedX Youth Burlington VHS wrap-up of all of that. But enough about everything that's going on in this weekend, such as the Eagles having the second pick and the Patriots not having anybody. Josh, what are we talking about today?
Well, today we're talking about one of my favorite topics, and that would be Google's Geo Tools, or at least the Geo Tools that Google Maps has allowed other people to create. I love the multitude of options that you have out there now and just the continuing growing library of tools and cool things people have done with Google Maps in the past. So we have a great lineup of different tools we'll talk about, but also great resources, fun games. There's not a shortage of things that you can do with the tools that Google has given us related to geography. And the cool part is that, these can be used in any subject. It's not just focused on using it for social studies or using it for, that kind of topic or class. It can be used for anything, which I hope we can make the case of tonight. Now,
when you say Geo Tools, you're talking about the things that you use to alert people on Twitter what building you're going to be in every minute.
Well, kind of. That's not a Google tool. That's if this then that, which is also amazing and a show in and of itself. No, actually, that doesn't use Google stuff at all. That's purely Twitter and my phone's location.
Jen, do you get into Geo Tools and mapping with your? And as Josh said, there's so many different resources for mapping that's out there. Do you do anything like this in your school district?
Yes, we use Google My Maps quite a bit, and we've used Geo Tools for a number of different things. We've done, to supplement geography learning when kids are doing, typically in our district in fourth grade or so, they're learning about the states and capitals, and we'll do, the kids will do mystery calls. And as part of that, we'll have pins on the map where they've connected to other classrooms throughout the country. And we've used it for kids to, associated with different literature they might be reading, stories, or fiction novels, depending. You can basically map out the locations where a character may have been and plot out, in those pins, indicate some significant events. Certainly great tie-ins for history. That's a really obvious one, but also for foreign language. There's lots of opportunities for our foreign language classes to use them as well when they're trying to learn about different cultures and what maybe are some of the significant points of interest in different countries. We've used it in those ways as well. So oftentimes we have kids building maps, and we've coupled that with the use of Google Forms, because kids can, or sheets where we preload the pins on the map and have different areas that kids will fill in. So I'm sure we'll get into talking about that today.
I know, Josh, we've done some shows about mapping and Geo Tools before, and it seems like every time this topic comes up, there's so many new and amazing things that are going on. I kind of started looking at this recently, knowing that this topic is coming up. Is it fair to look at something like Google My Map and treat it the same way as a Google Doc, where you're creating a personalized something that they can then be shared and collaborated with somebody else? Is that the right way of looking at this? Because I know sometimes people have said to me in school, well, if I put something on a map, is that now changing Google Maps? Tell us a little bit about all this stuff.
Yeah, so Google My Maps is like creating a document or a form or a spreadsheet where you've got this one singular thing that you're creating, but it's yours, and then you have the option to share those things with other people. But the pins you put down and what you do doesn't actually influence Google Maps itself. So this is purely kind of your own custom map that you are making.
And you can have several of these.
Yeah, you can make them. In fact, last year in the spring, late spring, they actually added My Maps to Google Drive. So you can go right into Drive, New, More, and then Create My Maps. And that actually helps for organization and storing them in folders. If you're doing projects and you need them organized, that helps a lot with that.
And at what age should we be starting to do this? I mean, I love the idea that you can do this on, maps of your community. Where's the firehouse? Where's the police house? Where's your house? What age should we start talking about Geo Tools and really diving into these kinds of things?
Well, I think as soon as I think they have the technical skills and are allowed to have Google accounts, I think you could. And like you said, doing things with the community, being able to see it from that perspective. With My Maps, you can go to that satellite view and you can see what things look like from right above, and having students be able to identify, where they live in relation to the school and actually see that instead of, just experiencing it on the bus, but actually getting to look at it all at once, I think is just great for that spatial reasoning and understanding where they are in the universe and being able to identify the different features of their town or of other towns. So as early as you can, I think this could be very valuable too. I mean, definitely by the time they get into 3rd, 4th grade, I don't see why not you can start using this.
Jen, is there a grade level that you're comfortable starting or talking about this about?
Well, I think it depends on how you're using it, but like I said, I've used it with 4th grade. I don't think I've used it younger than that. One of the things that makes it a little easier to use is that because you can upload data points through Google Sheets, I found that with younger kids, the teacher or I will pre-populate the map with pins. So we'll determine a location and then assign those locations to kids. And because you can upload in bulk pins and put the names of the kid on each pin, it's a little easier than having kids trying to find a specific location on their own. So it kind of depends, but I certainly would think 3rd, 4th grade would be no problem.
And are these activities simple? I mean, right now we're still trying to get teachers to know Google Docs, and that's a pretty simple thing. Is working on word processors and presentations. When you're looking at the world or other, I guess, because there's Mars and right? Is Google My Maps just the Earth, or is Google My Maps, can we do that on the moon and on the sun and all these other places, or am I getting things confused here?
That's just the Earth.
That's just
the Earth for Google My Maps. Yep.
Okay. Josh, are you able to give us a little demonstration of that?
You're going to have to tell me. It didn't look like my screen share was working properly, but let's see. I'm going to go full screen here and see what happens.
Sure.
Can you see a map?
I can see a map.
Beautiful. Okay, so it is working. Yay. So this is Google My Maps. This is what it looks like when you're on the editing side of things. So you can see on the left side there, we have the name of the map, TechEducator Demo Map. And then on the bottom, you can see your different layers that you can add. The share button is here. Actually, these layers are going to come in handy in just a second. And then down at the bottom is the base map. So right now, you can just kind of see just general features. If I swipe up with 2 fingers on my laptop here, I can actually zoom out. And if I swipe down, I can zoom in wherever my little hand is. So navigating is pretty simple and straightforward. If you need to find a specific address, like let's say, I don't know, pretty popular around the Green Bay area is this little place called Lambeau Field people like. So I can search for that, and it'll drop me right there and put a pin right on that spot that I can add to my map just like that. It'll turn it red, and now I've got a pin at Lambeau Field. The other way you can add pins is up in the top. You've got an option right there. They call them markers, so I guess that's the name we should be using, but I don't really care. I call it a pin, just like I call that little box in the corner of the waffle. With each pin, you can customize it with a style of color of pin. You can also change the shape of the icon, which is kind of fun. Kids love doing that. And then for editing, you can add information. You can change the title, and you can add a description. You can also add pictures and images. Now, My Maps is a little limiting, and then we're going to talk about one a little later called Tour Builder, which is slightly different but has a few added features. So with My Maps, when you add images, you can either search for images or videos or put in the URL. But you don't have the option to upload your own, which is a little disappointing. There are some ways around that, but like for videos, you're kind of out of luck with student uploaded videos unless you use them on your own YouTube channel. One cool thing that you can do with My Maps as well is you can actually import a bunch of data at once, which is kind of neat if you want to collect a bunch of information from people and add it in. So I put out in the chat and on Twitter a little earlier a little form that just asked you to add your location to our map. It looks like we had 5 responses. I think 2 of those were me, but that means we have 3 unique ones. And actually what you can do is since all those results go to a spreadsheet, you can import those results if they were put in a specific way into your My Map. So I can click Import, Google Drive, and I just look for that spreadsheet that I created from my form. And then you tell it what columns allow you to put it in its place. So I ask city, state, and zip code. Those will be where the points go. And then what do I want as the title? Well, let's choose favorite baseball team. And then it's going to load those in, and then all of those points that people filled out are going to end up on my map, which is kind of really neat if you want to do this at the beginning of a conference session or something. So yeah, you can take a look at where different people are in the world. We've got all the way on the West Coast. And then when you click on the points, you can see the data that they put in. So when they submitted the form, the city, the state, the zip code, and then whatever else you ask. So I asked several different questions on that form. And then depending on the way you put in your information, I don't know if I put it in correctly, you can actually do like a heat map with the styles. So if I click on this little paint roller, I can actually change this to style by data column. And I'm going to try and style this by how many years have you been in education. And so, oh, that worked okay. So you can see the different colors being used for how long. So you can get a quick glance. If you had lots of data points, that would be a really cool view to see different things depending on what data you put in there. So at its core, Google My Maps pretty easy to use for the most part. And like I said, you can share this. You can have editors, and you can also just make it viewable so that anybody with the link can view. And what's neat about the view link, I'm just going to grab that really quick, is that if we have the view link and we do an incognito window, or like if somebody else were to open this up, it's actually a really neat view with the map. I don't think I did that right. I did not. Need a different view link. Maybe I need this one here. So there's actually a little side panel that opens up on the left side of the screen. that gives a really cool view of what you're looking at. So when you click on a point, it actually brings that data up on the left in a really uniform manner. So I really like that feature a lot.
And is this stuff able to be embedded on a website for a teacher, or is this only accessible through the Google browser stuff?
Great question. Yes, it can be embedded. So you'll notice these 3-dot options here that Google loves with everything they make. They have the 3 dots now for options. You actually have the option to embed the map. But a really cool option right here is export to KML, which means you can actually export this map to a file that you could give to other people and that they could upload and use, or they could use with Google Earth. So that part's really nice. One question I got asked, I think it was the last time we did this show, was can you make a copy of a map? Now, it looks like they did add that feature, so that's new now. But before they added that, you actually could do it. You just had to export the KML and then upload it.
So, Josh, you just answered a question I was going to ask you in your demo. It's funny. I've used maps for years, and I was having a problem where I noticed when I looked at other people's maps that they had this beautiful like left side panel, just like you showed, right? Where when you click on a pin, it will show you the details of the pin on the left side map, left sidebar. And I couldn't figure out why mine wasn't doing that, but it sounds like the issue is that because I was in edit mode, it wasn't. Is that why? Because I saw you doing it in, and it worked for you. You said when you go in an incognito window and you do a view only, you grab a view only link.
Yep, so that was a change sometime over the summer, because it used to be even if you had view rights, you still would get that same view that you get when you're editing, but that just changed pretty recently, where now as a viewer only, you can see that beautiful left side pane. So that part's really nice. I like that. It's a definite upgrade in terms of how beautiful it looks.
So Josh, if you were to take that map and you wanted to turn it into a presentation or something, what would you do? How would you put that, or how would you package that with maybe another Google product to do a whole project together?
Okay, well, there's a couple different things that you could do. So we'll see how good my Kung Fu skills are at Googling here to bring up a few things. So like I have run a session recently at a lot of conferences and ed camps where I learned at the Google Teacher Academy this amazing race setup where they use Google Forms and My Maps, and that allowed you to like jump from challenge to challenge. So that was run really cool, like teacher created method for generating a neat activity with My Maps. But then I also use this with some teachers at my current school where they actually had class volcanoes that they created. So I'm going to try and bring those things up so I can show what those look like, the difference between those two. So I'm going to open up kind of an amazing race map, and then I'm going to open up one that was a collaborative class project, which is really neat. So, all right. I got both ready. Screen share coming on. Fingers crossed that it will work. All right, screen share started. So I'm going to start with the volcano. So can you see a map right now?
Yes.
Yay, all right. So far, what are we, 2 for 2 on screen shares? So you can see that there are a lot of different icons. And once again, I'm in the edit view. I think I could grab the view link for this if I went incognito to give the pretty view. The pretty view, as we're going to call it for right now. All right. Sweet. So you can see all the different points on this map, and the students really loved making their own custom icons. So you can see they use pictures of volcanoes for that. And then you'll see I've shared this one a lot. This has over 1,300 views on it. So this is one I love sharing because it's a great example of the collaborative nature of maps. And then you can click on the different icons, and it will take you right to where their icon was. And you can see photos that they added to their maps. And if they added more photos, you can click on those and cycle through them. And then the cool part about this project that we talked about was this. This is actually one drawback to think about when using maps, is that there's not a revision history in this. Meaning if you do a collaborative thing with an entire class and somebody decides they want to cause some trouble, they could delete a point. There's not really, besides undoing, not really a way to get it back. So with this, the students actually put all their research on a Google Doc, and then they put a few points of information in the point, but then link to that document for the further research. So that way they didn't lose all their work if something happened to their point. So
and
that was one way we got around that.
if you were doing this with your students and you wanted to incorporate Google Classroom, tell us again, what is the link that you give that says, here's the link to my class's My Map?
So if it's a collaborative map, like this one was, where everybody could edit it, when you click share, you either add the students directly. Actually, I probably shouldn't scroll through that with student names on there. So you can add the students directly like this teacher did. Now, because of the way Google My Maps works, unless this has changed, you couldn't make it so that when you put that file in, that anybody could edit it. You might be able to now, that could have changed. But what you'd want to do is either you'd add the students directly to it, or you would make it so that anybody with the link could edit it, and then you'd post that link on Classroom.
That is so much more advanced than it was last year, Josh. That's really, really neat.
Yeah, I like I said, I love this tool. It's so useful. And so this is one way you can use it, is this Classroom kind of collaborative thing. You can have groups of students do things. It's funny. Right now, I'm using my hands to talk, even though I'm not even on the camera. I can't stop that. And then the other thing that, like I said, I've been doing a lot with teachers and doing at conferences is this idea of creating an amazing race using My Maps. And the whole idea is you just add challenges in that have the students doing things related to your content, some different performance tasks. But you package it in a way that makes it a little more exciting. So when you use the maps, you're almost using the maps like a different website. I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't do this same thing using a document. But in this case, I use maps, and I find that it's actually really engaging for teachers and students alike. So how I usually construct this, and I'll throw out my link to a blog post I wrote on this. I just make, let's say, 5 challenges that I could do in 45 minutes. So I just make 5 different maps, and on each map I put a challenge. So I'm looking at the edit view right now. And then I would create a tutorial for each one, and then I have my description, and then I have a link to a form. After they fill out the form, they get the link to the next map, and that's how they follow all the challenges. So it has that natural clearinghouse in there that they can't see all the challenges at once, and I find that's really engaging. Like, you have something hidden from you, you want to achieve it, and then see the next thing. So that's another way we've combined some different Google tools to kind of take maps to the next level.
Josh, what is the difference between Google Maps, Google My Maps, and Google Earth? Can you do this on Google Earth?
Sort of. If you had Google Earth downloaded, so if you were a school where you had labs or laptops, PC laptops, you could have downloaded Google Earth, and they do actually have an ability to create different points and custom things on Google Earth that you can then share with other people. It's been a while since I've done it. I did a Google MOOC a few years back on Geo Tools where we did a bunch of cool stuff like that. One thing was we created like a voice tour. So in Google Earth, there's actually an option to create a tour to different places, and you can record your voice over it, like do a guided tour. But then, of course, that's like I would have to send that file to somebody else to use, and they would have to download it and have Google Earth. But you can do a lot of these similar things in the downloaded Google Earth program. And actually, if you do have that option, or you just want to check it out for personal use, I believe Google made Google Earth Pro. So there were some additional features you could get in the Pro version. I think that's totally free. That used to be several $100s, and now you can download that for free.
So if you were looking to do like a scavenger hunt, or you wanted to put together something for your school district, there's something I know called Google Tour Builder. What's up with that?
Google Tour Builder is one of my favorite things, and it's not necessarily new, but we're a Chromebook school, and so for me, If it's not something that works on a Chromebook, I generally don't spend a lot of time on it because my students that I work with and then the teachers wouldn't be able to use it because, well, that's what we have for the students in the classroom. But just last spring, they made it so that there's a 2D mode. So they used to need like this 3D plugin that only worked on laptops. Now they made a 2D mode so that you actually can make these tours on a Chromebook. Now, the drawback with this is that there isn't the option to share it in that you can collaboratively work on it with somebody else, but you can share it so that other people can view it. So here's one I threw together on just some colleges that I have attended, and then I was just demoing stuff, so there's a bunch of other points on here. But I really like it. It's nice. It kind of walks you through different points, and you can tell a little bit more of a story, and then you control the view that people see. You control the icons a little bit, so it kind of flies you along. It's a neat little tool. One thing I do like about this is that not only does it support this storytelling medium, so Jen talked about doing like lit trips with kids. Like this would be a great way to do a lit trip because you can just have somebody click next and go from point to point to point. So that could be a great use for it too. The other reason I really like this is if I were to make my own tour, when you create a point and you want to add a photo, you can upload your own photos. Whereas with Google My Maps, you can only use photos you find online. You can upload your own photos here. And if you add a location, let's just say, I'll go Lambeau Field again since I'm kind of on that kick. Add that to the tour. I can add photos and videos, and I can upload my own videos too. So if students made a video of something that they want to share, they can actually upload their own, which is awesome. They used to have the option to record out of the webcam. It doesn't look like they have that anymore. You can take a snapshot of your screen, and you also have the option to search YouTube, search for images, etc. So yeah, that's Tour Builder. You can see you can add the dates, and that's how you can organize things. In fact, I believe that if they have historical footage from like historical satellite views from the years that you put in, that's the view you'll see from that spot. But I'm not 100% on that.
And on this tour builder, you can search for places or search for things on the world. Am I getting that right?
Yeah. So if I want to add a location, I can just search. So give me a place to search for.
I want to know, where is Carmen Sandiego?
All right. Let's see what happens when I put that in. That'd be funny if that is a place. It's not.
Oh.
But if a place doesn't exist, Jeff, you can drop a place mark.
We found something that Google
know where Carmen is. You can drop a place mark somewhere.
I figured Google had to know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Jen, have you used Tour Builder before? This looks pretty beta.
Well, it's funny you should ask because I had the same issue that Josh mentioned, which is we're a Chromebook school, so I don't use things that I can't use on Chromebooks. And up until I just heard this tonight, I didn't realize that there was an option for a 2D version. So I think that's really cool. I'll have to check that out now.
And Josh, you said if you're is it on a Chromebook it auto goes to 2D, or do you have to figure out which version you're using? I mean, because like with my school district, we're Chromebooks, but we also have Windows and Apple stuff.
It'll default. So if you go to a Chromebook and you go in, I mean, you won't have to do anything special. It'll just work.
And how are you using this? I mean, I noticed with your tour, you've got dots all over the place. Can I put something like this together of my school district, town, of the community, or what? Give us another example here of telling a story through maps here.
Well, I worked with a teacher last year where it was kind of an end-of-year project. She was looking for something to kind of fill the end of the year, and I believe the students made stories using Tour Builder of different places they've gone on vacation. So it was a way for them to show those different places and then be able to share those stories in that format with other people. So that's one way that students have used it in my school. I'd like to see the use increase a little bit, but it's all about finding the right purpose. You don't just kind of throw the tech tool in there. It's okay, what's a good use for this? How can it really enhance the learning environment? but I know there's lots of ways. It's just finding those.
Nice. I've said this already once, but it just is amazing because we do this same topic every year, it seems, Josh. There's a lot of neat things going on here. So we talked about Geo Tools. We talked about Google My Maps. We talked a little bit about Google Tour Builder. Is there a way to gamify this?
Kind of, depending on what you're looking at. So one of my favorite things to do whenever I visit a new place, or if I just need to spend some time somewhere, or let's say we go to Door County, that's a kind of touristy area near Green Bay, and it's just 45 minutes up the bay on the finger side, if you know Wisconsin geography at all. But there's a bunch of little touristy towns, and so if I go there with my in-laws, they're all going into every single shop, and I don't really care that much about doing that. But there's a game called Ingress that you can get on your phone, and it's like an augmented reality Google Maps. So you open it up, you actually have a backstory, so you choose a side, Resistance or the Enlightened, and there's different portals that are placed then on the map. So when you have the app open on your phone, you can see different portals, and you can actually hack them. You get items, you gain levels over time, you get experience points as you do this, and then you can actually team up with other people, and it can become pretty intense. Like, people will meet up on weekends and go en masse to these portals, because as you get higher level, you need more people to destroy the defenses of the portals, and it's pretty awesome. Ingress, if you haven't checked it out yet, I would highly recommend it. Even if you're not really sure what it is, load it up, go downtown, and I bet you'll find a ton of portals to hack.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't have any portals around my house. I mean, I can bring up the app on my phone and just kind of put it in the webcam here. But yeah, it's insanely fun and addicting. I think I'm level 3, which sounds, I don't know if that sounds impressive or not, but it's actually pretty low. Like, I think once you get to the like level 8. Oh, acquire my position.
Welcome back.
Yes.
It's been a long time since your last login.
So
Wow.
I was getting worried about you.
yeah, so you haven't played much recently.
Wait a minute. What app is that?
This is Ingress.
I got to get that.
So yeah, it's telling me there's a portal. It's a level 7 one, somewhere near me, 330 meters. Yeah, and it just works with your GPS. And actually, there's some guy who wrote a blog post, or was doing something not too long ago, where he actually chronicled his weight loss, because he did a lot of walking to do all this ingressing, and actually used that as kind of a buoy to the weight loss that he was doing. So I mean, it's a super cool game. It's engaging. They have this really cool backstory, and it's just a fun way to explore the world around you. There's a lot of portals at like famous landmarks and places like that. So I mean, you can be driving down the road as the passenger in the car and pull up the app and see what portals there might be near you as you're going somewhere.
So Josh, we've learned a lot about Geo Tools today, and I know that it's something that I'd like to start exploring with our students of all ages. Where can we go to find resources for this? I know that we're going to have all of your show notes, all of your links and stuff over on our website, on the brand new revamped TeacherCast, which you can find this over at teachercast.net, and it's Tech Educator show number 119. But where would you recommend people going for resources?
All right, so there's really three main places. I mean, Google themselves, you just search for Google Maps Education. They've got their own portal. But there's also a couple other places that I'd recommend you check out if you're looking for anything doing with Geo. So one of them would be a guy, actually, we had him on the show at the beginning of last summer. His name's Kurt Wismer. Shocker, he's another teacher in Wisconsin. I think we all know each other over here for the most part. But actually, a super cool guy, but he just started one day compiling all of this all these Geo tools on a site, and he's got a great collection. So if you head out to his site, it's just Geo for EDU. If you Google that, it'll come up. If you search for Kurt Wismer Geo Tools, it'll come up. Or you can just check out the show notes on the, as Jeff mentioned, very beautiful looking TeacherCast website. So in here, he's got Google Maps and Google Earth separate. And then underneath, he actually has lessons. So this is something he's used with his students. So he has different lessons. So if you're looking to teach maps and have it as a project in class, he's got lessons. And then he's got some links to support and for educators. But then my favorite section is the fun with Google Maps. This will blow your mind with the millions of things out here that you can do with maps or that people have done. So he's got these links kind of separate out in different sections here. Some informational stuff. There's our friend Google My Maps. Then there's the Street View collection. And then there's some things where you can explore different places. Google Night Walk, where you can explore great cities at night. If I just click on one of these, you can see some of what it looks like. It wants me to have headphones. It's talking to me right now.
Is that live?
I don't think it's live. I think it's recorded. Yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of a neat one with the night walks. Of course, I saw it in here. Google Art Project is not quite a mapping tool, but if you don't know what this is, it is phenomenal. It's related to the Google Cultural Institute, and it actually will get you closer to museum exhibits than you can get in the museum, which is just phenomenal. I mean, you can zoom in. They are in incredibly high resolution stuff. So that's just an aside. I know it's not a Geo tool. I think actually that might make a great show is to talk about the Cultural Institute and the Art Institute, because there is some amazing stuff in there. Yeah, it just goes on and on. Underwater Street View is, if the sea levels were to keep rising at the rates they're rising, what would it look like? What would your city look like in a certain period of time? Let's see, visit the moon and Mars on Google Maps. Super neat. Now, there is a tool called Map Maker out there that used to be Google My Maps, used to be under Map Maker. But actually what Map Maker is now, and I don't know if you have to pay for it or not, but you can actually create things that you can submit to go on Google Maps. So that's kind of a further afield tool for maps. And you can see it just keeps going on. I just keep scrolling, and there keeps being more stuff. Oh, and we get the dancing banana over there too.
Is there a significance to the dancing banana?
So much, like it's overwhelming almost.
Okay. What's the significance of the dancing banana?
I think to reward you for scrolling that far down, catch your eye on something. If you look, it's actually the Pegman. So the Google Maps Pegman as the dancing banana, like peanut butter jelly time. Familiar with that?
Nice.
And then actually down in this section, fun and games. I mean, there's so much. I think by now a lot of us know about Google Cardboard and expeditions. And I mean, that's going to take these Geo tools to the next level as more and more students have and schools have access to those tools.
I see the Hobbit there.
Yeah.
Can you Google map the whole Shire in Middle Earth?
Okay. Where was that? Was that above me?
That was under the dancing banana.
Under the dancing banana.
There it is.
Yeah, it was the thing with, okay, I can't, oh, there it is. So yeah, this came out. It's one of the Chrome experiments to see how they could push their browser. But yeah, this was a neat little tool that you can see different areas of Middle Earth. Now it uses screenshots from the movie in The Hobbit. But yeah, it's a neat tool. We'll see how well it loads whilst I'm doing the Hangout and everything else. But yeah, there's so many things to check out that have been done using maps or mapping technology. Ooh, here we are.
This looks really, really neat to be able to travel through and explore Middle Earth.
Agreed. My wife and I, we love these movies. In fact, we're awaiting a time where we can just kind of sit down and just do the whole marathon, all 6 of them in one go.
Please don't make that a Sunday.
I will keep that in mind. So yeah, we can see Hobbiton in there. Yeah, so this is a really neat tool to explore. I wonder if we can get to the Lonely Mountain.
Jen, as somebody who goes through K to 12, there's so many possibilities of using these geomapping tools in our positions here. I mean, I'm just coming up with, like, right now our 4th graders are studying parts of the world, and we just took a simple Google drawing, put a map on it, and we're kind of doing like icons on a map. This just seems so easy to do.
Yeah, I think, like you said, there are so many options that, I know I've done things where I've taken a map, and stuck it into Scratch. I've done a screenshot of a map and stuck it into Scratch programming and had the Scratch cat move around and have kids record their voice at different locations. So there's just, there's so many things you can do. One of the things that I notice, teachers mention sometimes when I'm showing maps to them, the pins that you put on my maps are limited to just a name of the location and a description. But an easy way around that, Josh, I'm sure you've shared this with teachers before, is that if you upload points, pinpoints on the map ahead of time with, and you have columns in the data that you upload. And even if the columns are blank, they just need to have a single character in them, so they'll fill in like a period. The significance is that you end up having pinpoints on the map with multiple sections on the pinpoint, so kids can fill in different pieces of information about a pinpoint instead of just having one big text field. So it makes it a lot, makes it really powerful in the classroom to have pins that allow for students to input multiple pieces of information. Say you're doing major battles of the Civil War and you want to know, the number of casualties, and you want to know what the significance of that battle was, and so if there were some different things that you wanted and you didn't want it all plopped into one sort of blank text box, you can separate out into different sections a box. So those are, there's definitely a wide range of things you can do with maps, and the fact that you can share them and have kids collaborating on them is so powerful.
The one thing that we didn't talk about today is Street View. Is there anything, Josh, that has Street View that we can work on?
Yes. Actually, there's kind of a fun one that's a Street View game, or there's a couple Street View games that are interesting that you'll have to use your deductive reasoning to figure out where you are. So there's one called GeoGuessr, and GeoGuessr just plops you somewhere and you have to figure out where you are. So I'm going to go GeoGuessr and single player, and this is going to plop me somewhere. Here I am. Where am I? And you have to make a guess on the map as to where you think you are, and you can only really use the street view, so you just have to go around down the street and figure out where you are. There looks like there's possibly some information here. There's a Shell station. What do we know about the Shell station? Not much. FedEx, World Services. Ooh, there might be something here. Oh, look at that. Looks like it's in Chinese or Japanese, so we know that we're probably not in the US. Well, but that's GeoGuessr, so that's a cool game with Street View. And there's also one, I don't know if it was linked on Kurt Wismer's site, but it's one that a friend of mine, John Spike, has talked a lot about. It's called Pursued. I believe it's called Pursued, the Street View game. And now I don't know if you get different places where you end up with this one, because I think I've seen the same one you start in every time. Oh, there's different levels. Okay. So we'll choose level 1. So you have like a little intro here. You just, you got knocked out, you get taken somewhere, you have no idea where you are. We can skip that. And so you actually have a time limit to figure out where you are. You have 5 minutes to determine where you are to move on to the next level. So you're being chased right now.
And do you have to sign in for all of these things, or is this just come as you are, any kid can try this?
Yeah, but I'm not signed into this. I didn't have to sign into this. I did not have to sign into GeoGuessr.
Nice.
Yeah, so these are just games that people have used Street View, and I don't know if it has an API or what is built in with that. It must. And then they've created these layers over the top of it.
Nice. There's a lot of neat things here that you can do. And you said that this is Chromebook compatible. Is that right?
Yes, I believe so. I don't think there's anything about Street View that doesn't work on Chromebooks. Now, I'm on my laptop right now, but I have popped into some of these things with my Chromebook before. Because it's just Street View. There's nothing. The only thing that I could see potentially being an issue is if it's using Java.
Okay.
Which it's not, because it would have taken forever to load. and probably thrown a security warning or two.
So, just one of the things that I really like that Google's doing with all their mapping technologies is they are moving to other planets. Can you bring up or maybe show us the moon or Mars or even the underwater stuff?
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
I think it's really amazing what they're doing.
Agreed. So let me see if I can pull up some Moon and Mars stuff here. I love space. Lately, I've been in a Kerbal Space Program kick, which is, if you haven't checked it out, it is an awesome game that has actually real kind of physics involved with it as you build this space program and learn how to get into orbit and go to moons and other planets. I love it, and I'm probably borderline obsessed with it, but I'm recovering, so we'll be okay.
Please put the link in our show notes to that.
Okay, I will try to remember to do that. All right, so here I am at the moon. You can tell this is just Google Maps, space, moon. And so here I am looking at the moon. Huzzah.
Nice.
Is it the moon or is it the Death Star? It's hard to tell.
It looks like the moon. Because there's no X-Wings, around us.
I can't remember the name of it, but I know that we could find the place where we landed. But the name is escaping me right now. I'm trying to really work on my space nerdiness. I'm actually going through a online class that the Jet Propulsion Laboratory put out about the basics of spaceflight, and I am feeling very dumb as I read the stuff on there. But I'm still fascinated by it. But yeah, this is the moon. And I think they had Mars. I wonder if I can just hack the URL here to get to Mars. Let's see.
Is it?
Huzzah!
Ah.
Yes, it worked. URL hacks are the best. Yeah, Mars is still red as always. Wonder if I can find Acidalia planitia from The Martian.
You just lost me.
You haven't seen The Martian, Jeff?
No, I haven't.
It's incredible.
I read the book. It's amazing. I haven't seen the movie yet.
The book is so good. The movie does do it justice. I feel like I wasn't disappointed after watching the movie. It was definitely well done and kept with the story for the most part. Like there wasn't anything super major they left out, I thought.
Jen, I certainly learned a lot from tonight, and I think that there'll be a lot of interesting things coming out of TeacherCast over the next few weeks with all these different Geo Tools and My Maps and it really amazing stuff. What did you pick up tonight, Jen?
No, it was great. I really picked up a number of things. I'm looking forward to going through the show notes, which have a lot of great resources. So Josh took some time to really put together a number of great resources. I'm really interested in checking out Kurt Winsmer's website with specific lesson ideas because I feel comfortable with using the tools, but I'm always looking for new ideas about how I can use them differently with students. So thank you for that.
Josh, there's a question here from Peggy in the chat. It says, have you seen or used Smarty Pins?
I have, but right now it's not working. I was just going to actually bring that up as we ended, and I'm pulling it up, and it's actually throwing a security error at me, and it's making me kind of mad.
What is Smarty Pins?
I Googled it. It came up. So the link in his website must have been off for some reason. But yeah, Smarty Pins is super addicting.
What is it?
All right, well, since we're working so well with screen shares tonight, let's do another one.
And if you are out there in your car,
yeah.
I'm so sorry. But but definitely check out the video for this episode. We'll have everything up on teachercast.net and over on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, so Smarty Pins, so it's just smartypins.withgoogle.com, is actually trivia related to different points on a map. So if you're not much of a fan of the Street View thing, and that one is kind of challenging, with Smarty Pins, you walk in, you answer as many questions as you can before you run out of miles. So you are trying to get as close as possible to the location that answers the question. So our question right here is, the Comedy Cellar boasts regulars such as Louis C.K. and Dave Chappelle. Where can you visit this iconic club?
Bleecker Street. Oh, sorry.
And where is that?
New York.
I was going to guess New York, so we're going to drop right on New York. And I'm going to submit my answer. Not Fairview, New Jersey.
Josh, come on.
Who likes New Jersey anyways?
Hey.
Wait, is there somebody in here from New Jersey?
Maybe.
Yeah, so there we go. It looks like it actually got me in the right spot.
Fantastic.
So, sweet. See, look at he even said here, got it. Put on a banana suit and celebrate. All right, so we go to our next one. At 2,722 feet, this enormous skyscraper, completed in 2010, is the tallest man-made structure in the world. Well, that's the one that's in Dubai, right? The Burj something or another. I'm going to put it there. The Burj Khalifa. Sweet. So, yeah, this is Smarty Pins, and until you run out of miles, you get to keep going. So I was 4 miles away, so I actually lost 4 miles on that question. I only have 996 left.
So the idea is you're supposed to do a Google search to find out the address and then put the answer down.
Might not be a bad idea for some of these.
Ooh.
Now, the faster you answer, you actually do get a bonus, so you can get some of those miles back if you really know. So, Central Intelligence Bureau, that's in Langley. Right, CIA's in Langley, Virginia. Where is Langley on the map, though?
I thought Langley was in Wyoming. Try it.
That's Laramie. I don't see Langley on here. Where is it? Doesn't matter. Okay, I'm gonna go away from this because we're actually doing the podcast right now, and I shouldn't be playing games.
It's okay. Everybody on TeacherCast.
Why stop now, John?
Yeah, really.
True.
Josh, again, all of this stuff is going to be up here in our show notes over on TechEducatorPodcast.com and TeacherCast.net. Again, this is episode number 119, and I think we've done a good job tonight at going through all of the important Google mapping products. And I have to say, you look like you belong in the beginning of a Bohemian Rhapsody video, my friend.
Oh, I do. Well, I just got a haircut, and I think the reason I wait so long to get my hair cut now is every time I get it cut, I notice that I'm closer and closer to having none left.
No. I just meant with the.
What it is.
I was talking about the dark background with just your face lit up.
You know what? It was light out when I started. I do have the lights in front of me, so at least you can see my face. That was important. But yeah, it happens.
Nice. Josh, thank you so much for putting all this together. Where can we go to find out more information about the great things happening in your neighborhood?
Probably the best place, the most consistent place to follow me is at Twitter. So I'm Mr. G Fact of the Day on Twitter, and I do blog. That's linked. And currently, I am crazy busy planning TedX to Peer Middle School, which is going to be awesome. I'm really excited, and I really need to talk to Jen to hear more about her experiences with TedX Youth at, was it BHS, Burlington High School?
TedXYouthBHS.com.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Jeff's talk. I really need to do that. I'm super interested.
We'll certainly have all that stuff up. Teaching forward, Jennifer, how are you, and where can we go to find more information about the stuff that's happening in Massachusetts?
Great. So I'm at teachingforward.net, and my Twitter handle is at Jen Judkins, JenJudkins. And we have a great show next week, Jeff, with Google Drawings and Casey Bell.
We've been plugging it for the last few weeks here. I am really excited to get Casey on the show and to learn more about the stuff that's happening over at Shake Up Learning and learn more about Google Drawings. Maybe we could do some kind of Google Drawings, Google My Map kind of thing where we can have Google and Casey and Josh just spar at each other. How about? Okay, bad idea. Completely bad idea here.
Hey, I've been able to meet Casey once, and she is awesome. And the stuff she puts out is incredible.
It's incredible,
so,
yeah.
Yeah. Give her an early plug at Shake Up Learning. She is an awesome educator and just super passionate. And I'm going to try my best to be here next week. I actually am helping my parents roof their house next weekend. So we'll see if I'm still alive.
And I got to tell you, Casey has to be some kind of a mind reader, because maybe 2 weeks ago, I walked into my superintendent's office, and he's sitting there going over questions for Google certifications. And he's talking to me about being a trainer in level 1 and level 2. And I said, let me see if I can get some information about level and certifications and stuff like that. No sooner do I go back to my office, sit down, and there's an email from Casey with her new ebook about certifications. And if you haven't downloaded it yet from Shake Up Learning, it is absolutely amazing. If you're looking at being a level 1 or level 2 educator or an innovator or a trainer or any of these things, definitely check it out. That wraps up our show today. I want to give a big thank you to Craig and Peggy for sticking along with us. We are here every single Sunday at 7 o'clock live on teachercast.tv. Of course, all of our shows are going to be archived on YouTube and on iTunes. Please check out those channels and subscribe to us. You can, of course, find us on Twitter at TeacherCast or this show's Twitter, TechEd Show. One more time, I want to give a big shout out to our friend Jennifer Sheffer for all the great hard work her and her team did to get TedX Youth at BHS together. We're going to be talking a lot more about that in the weeks to come as those videos get up. My name is Jeff Bradbury. Thank you so much for making the Tech Educator Podcast your home for professional development. Until next week, keep up the great work in your classrooms and continue sharing your passions with your students.